Why do toxic leaders keep getting promoted when everyone knows they're toxic? Why do we treat being human at work like it's optional? Today, we're talking to Heather Conklin. That's right, another Heather. This Heather is CEO of Torch and a former SVP and General Manager at Salesforce. You're going to hear from Heather why the part of you that people see at work is just the tip of the iceberg, and why understanding what's beneath the surface changes everything. We also talk about that paradox. Toxic leaders get promoted at the exact same rate as good leaders. Why? And she introduces us to fail salad. It's a thing, and it might just change how your team operates. So listen in today if you're tired of choosing between getting results and treating people like humans. Oh, and we also debate Uranus versus Uranus and get hooked on phonics lessons because that's just the kind of thing we do on the show. So let's get to it. Welcome to Heather's. I mean, not all business, a podcast by two former CEOs who went from competitors to friends. I'm Blakely Graham, and my co-host is Heather Cooper, and we're joined by our producer, Clay Cornell. Let's get down to business.
Not all business.
Blakely, we are officially in 2026. Are you doing the thing where you keep writing 2025 or see you? We don't really do that anymore, do we? Remember in the days when you used to write out checks? Are you
it was
that old?
Only for checks, or remember in school you had to write like December 1st, 2025, like on the top of your papers. Kids don't even put their names on their papers anymore. Like it's like slop is accepted. It's all a joke. So I don't think people write years.
Are they even writing papers with papers and like pencils?
No. My kids
elementary?
Don't know how to write. They don't even teach. They don't teach cursive. They don't really even barely teach print. They don't teach phonics. They do not teach you how to spell. It's all gone. It's all gone.
Did you ever have to do hooked on phonics when you were a kid? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Hooked on phonics worked for me. Did you?
Oh, I don't remember the slogan.
I do. I don't know why. I didn't have to do it, but it was pretty cool.
The commercials made it look so cool. Like, even if you were I'm pretty good at this stuff, but I kind of still want it.
I know. I don't know what a past participle is.
Yeah. They didn't teach that to us, right? I thought it was like, here's the letter O, here's the letter U. Together, it's, what is it pronounced?
Ooh-ah.
Somebody get her hooked on phonics right now.
Out.
Well, it depends. Cloud or?
Cloud. Ow. Yeah. So I think it's OU is loud. Ow. Ow. There we go. O
Oud.
With you is loud.
Yes, but what about for boo or no boo bougie? B-O-U.
You mean like ooh.
Bougie. Like you look so bougie today in your diamond necklace that you won.
You don't say I'm bougie. You say you're bougie. We all need phonics. Oh my gosh, this is what's wrong with us. It started with our generation.
Even though it's supposed to be like snowing outside, Nick and I were outside in the backyard looking at the stars because it was like 70 degrees out. And
it's ridiculous.
He kept saying Uranus for the planet because we were talking about which ones you can see with the naked eye. And I'm like, why are you saying Uranus? He goes, because every time I say Uranus, everyone makes a joke. I'm like, but
now he's talking about urine.
But now you're saying Uranus, and people think you're an idiot, that you don't know how to say Uranus. And it was this whole thing about...
But it's not like anus is a worse word than urine. You know what I mean?
I didn't even think about that. That's a really good argument.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll let him know you said that. Yeah, that's good. Another point, Blakely.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we say your name so much on the podcast? that 2025 recap was hilarious. Blakely.
It was great.
Oh, I'm going to stop saying it. I'm going to win next
my
year.
name, the most word. I thought, though, you were going to take it as like, oh, we say her name so much because we're always like making fun of her or she's always in trouble. You know, like you get scolded, Blakely, but maybe you guys said it so much because you love me.
It could have been that. This year, it's going to be all about Heather. And we're actually at second episode of the year. In order to secure that, I actually decided to invite a guest on with the name Heather, as we know.
So we have an episode of Heather's
Heather
today.
Conklin, constantly. Heather's. Yeah. Did you ever see that movie, Heather's?
Oh, we saw that movie. We all saw that movie. Clay, have you seen that movie?
No. There's a movie called Heathers.
Yeah, it was about
it's
mean. Were they murderers?
Classic. Yeah, they end up. Well, I think didn't Winona Ryder end up? Should we just bring Heather on to talk about Heathers because she probably knows Heathers as well.
She might have some opinions. Yeah, we'll see in a minute. But also, I have another question for you.
Oh,
I think that we should do some lives this year where we do a movie night. Where we'll go live and like you and I will watch a movie because we were always talking about all of these things for fun, and then people can join and like watch it with us. Do you hate this idea?
Yes.
Have you not seen people do this where you go on live, like Instagram Live or whatever, we'll watch a movie, we'll either tear it apart or we'll be like, we'll watch Working Girl, bottle of wine, be like, this is the best part
Working
where
Girl.
She does that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
and then
did
you
it
talk with
stand
people in the
up?
chat and you can bring people on. We can do that right here on this recording platform. We can go live and invite people to come in. So
that would be so fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I want to do a movie night.
I kind of thought you were talking about like live shows where, we're podcasting live and you want to watch a movie. I just watch. I make fun of
my basement.
Your kids watch the Twitch TV of like people playing Minecraft, but they won't play Minecraft.
It's Twitch. It's a Discord. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
They're talking to each other on the Discord. Clay, what? What?
Why are you laughing?
Oh, just because it was like, I felt like we were about to stumble into like, it's a Twitch, it's a Discord. The TikTok's been Instagramming my Reddits.
He's worried about geriatric social media syndrome.
Yeah,
we have that.
And you know what I learned over the holiday break is that millennials' like worst fear is being seen trying. Like that is our deepest fear as a generation, is not that we would fail, it's that we would be seen trying. And so when I see other people
like a try hard, like don't be such a try hard kind of thing.
No, just like authentically trying something and like
you're a know-it-all, like you were supposed to have known it already, so you don't want to be vulnerable and try stuff in front of other people.
Yeah. So, and I'll get back to why Heather triggered that, or her action triggered that. But
why did Heather trigger it? Tell me what Heather did.
The idea is you were stumbling into what it felt like to me was like, you said, it's not a Twitch, it's a Discord. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we're about to get into like what a Discord is, what a Twitch is, what all of that is. Whereas like you're not active on those sites. I can guarantee you're not active on Twitch and you're not active in a Discord.
My son was. He was like one of the top Fortnite players.
Twitchers.
He went to Worlds.
He did not.
Did he Twitch for
Fortnite? Went to Fortnite, watching
twitched.
other people play Fortnite?
No.
He was like top gamer.
He was in it.
Yeah.
Oh, but he was letting people watch him play Fortnite.
We put it on at the office and we would get into, which I know we need to get to Heather because she's the expert on this, but that is part of getting to know your people. Well, I don't know if she's a gamer. We're going to find out. But what she does is she cares about her people who work with her, getting to know them as humans, getting to know their skills, their interests, who are the whole of them bringing to work. We should just bring her on. This is getting ridiculous. Do you agree?
Let's bring
or do
her
you
on.
have
Yeah,
some more chastising you'd like to do?
I'm not chastising anyone.
Okay.
It's a new year. I'm good.
Happy
good,
New Year,
kind
Blakely. Happy New Year, Blakers.
Heaths. Do you really want to go there?
No. I take it back. I'll never say it again. You cannot call me
thank
Heath.
you.
All right.
You cannot call me Blakers. It's a pact. All right.
It's a deal.
Let's bring her on. Heather Conklin. Welcome to the show. Everyone is looking for an advantage in their marketing that they can digest in a clear, fun format. Well, there's one podcast I want to tell you about that's changing the game. It's called Your Audience is Waiting, and it's for business leaders who are done with surface-level marketing advice. Hosted by visibility and content strategist Alicia Everett, this isn't a show about posting more content. It's about aligning your visibility strategy with actual business goals and revenue. Alicia helps CEOs, founders, and ready-to-scale business owners build strategic visibility ecosystems that position you as the authority in your space and convert attention into customers. Real frameworks, real ROI. Clay, that's return on investment. So if you're leading a business and you want to grow, go subscribe to Your Audience is Waiting wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to Not All Business.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you both.
Oh, we're
so
excited to
happy you're
have
here.
you. Quick clarification, since we're going to name this episode Heathers. Did you watch the movie Heathers?
I feel embarrassed to say that I have not. And
don't be
I feel
embarrassed.
like I just need to do that this weekend because how am I named Heather and I've never watched that movie?
It's probably because you're younger. You missed it by like 10 years or something. She was probably in the womb when we were watching it.
Well, you
I did
probably were
identify with what
younger.
Clay said. Like, don't want to show anyone that I'm trying something that resonates. But unfortunately, I have not seen Heather's.
That's okay.
I'm in trouble already.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I want to hear more about why you resonated with what Clay said about the not wanting to be seen trying. How did that hit you?
Oh, yeah. What does that mean?
I don't like being new at anything. Like I don't want to ever be like fumbly and weird at something. And so I will try to make sure I'm going to be good at it before I do it. Like I remember when I first started dating my husband, he went to the gym, and this was before I had kids and I had time to go to the gym, but he was like, why don't you go to the gym and work out? And I was like, because I have no idea what to do there. Like, I don't know what the things are. I don't know how to use them. And I'm going to look like an idiot. So I'm just like, not going to go. And he's like, why do you think people are even looking at you? Like, no one's looking at you at the gym.
No, that's not true because you're hot and everyone's looking at you. So I disagree with him. You have to listen to our episode with Nicole Christensen because we talked about that deeply.
Just
about
exactly that, yeah.
Like a click and how we need to overcome that, but how it's a very real thing. Like you are not alone. I would never go anywhere near the weights because I would just feel so foolish. So...
But I think your husband wasn't wrong either. I remember one of my close girlfriends gave me this advice when I was feeling super self-conscious, like after baby, getting in a bathing suit. We were going on a sailing trip. And she's like built like a supermodel, like Athena goddess type person. And she just looks at me and she goes, no one cares. Everyone is way too busy looking at themselves. Way too busy. They really aren't looking at you. And Heather, agree
Heather
that
won.
Okay,
Which one's one?
Do you want to call us
Just kidding.
Blonde Heather?
I'll be Heather too. I'll be Heather too.
No, there's no. How about host Heather?
you were
Host
just
Heather,
in the
guest
order
Heather?
of my screen.
Okay.
Host Heather, I also
Yes.
agree with you that people are going to look, but they're only going to look if like they're on the prowl, right? Mostly people just care about their own vanity and we should just not worry about it. And so get in that gym, Heather Conklin, guest Heather. Oh, I'll never get that right.
Also, if you don't want to, that's totally cool too. But I will say, I look at other women all the time.
Really?
All the time. And I am always
I guess I'm
judging.
the vain one.
I guess you are, but I'm doing it in a comparison. And by the way, let me tell you, I'm not winning the comparison.
No, don't compare yourself.
You know what I mean?
Don't do it.
It's a thing. It will happen where it's like, okay, I'm looking at someone at the gym not out of lust. God, I would never look at guys in their gym. They're disgusting and blah.
They are gross.
Right. But for a woman, I'm like, oh, she's got really nice triceps, or well, look how flat her stomach is. It's always out of not a desire, out of a jealousy or out of a comparison. And that's not just physical either, by the way. Like I think we compete with each other more than we would like to admit. Obviously part of this podcast is to help us help each other and collaborate. And get away from the competition. But my gut thing is to be like, am I as good as that? Am I as successful as her? Am I not? And I'm usually comparing on the downside, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's a Heather issue. I have this problem as well. It's actually why I'm not on any sort of like social media or anything anymore. Like I shut off everything.
When did you shut everything off?
That's a good question. I shut off Instagram and what would have been Twitter and Facebook like a few years ago. Like I just realized I was like, it's not doing anything good for me. I'm not going to do it anymore. And so I don't go on. I lie. I go on once in a while on Instagram for two reasons. I go on to look up people who are on Love is Blind because that is where you get the best info on them. And then I go on to like look at this. I don't know if you know Shay McGee, but she has nice clothes and she posts a lot about what clothes she buys, and it's a good place to find some clothes inspo. So I go on for those two reasons alone. But anyway, I for all other scrolling, I stopped. I went to LinkedIn instead, mostly for work. And I realized recently, like I do the same comparison thing you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Just like with work, And so I was like, well, I took that off my phone too. I can't have anything nice because I just use it to compare to myself.
To hurt yourself emotionally.
Yes.
That's so wise. And I love that you say love is blind too. It's not like you're shutting yourself off from entertainment, or you're just choosing how and recognizing what is entertaining and helpful to you. Like what's bringing you joy, laughter, connection versus what's kind of slowly little cutting at you. Yeah. And that's brave. That's super brave because you're also kind of rejecting any, like, especially with the LinkedIn, it's like, the balance there of positive versus negative. How did you come to recognize the negative, especially on LinkedIn?
Well, it's like when I took all those other ones off of my phone, I directed all that scrolling energy at LinkedIn. And, it's just like anything. You can always find somebody who's doing better, has more, whatever. And it was just like in the work realm.
And LinkedIn too, it's like so... You can make something look so much bigger. I guess with anything you can, but with LinkedIn, like the most annoying thing is that you can make yourself look really successcul, but it's like no one was actually at that conference, and you did the shot where there's like you're speaking, and it's like wow, hundreds of people, and really there's 20, right? I mean, you can always play with that, so it's all artificial anyway.
I was about to say that LinkedIn to me is the worst offender of artificial content. Like, right? Like you leaders have their platforms and they write out their content, and it's so AI heavy that don't get me wrong. Like I'm not always the best writer. And so when that AI was just coming onto scene, I was using it to kind of proof things a little bit. And I thought I sounded smarter. And now it's like, in an instant in LinkedIn, like, okay, that went through Claude, that went through ChatGPT. And so it's just getting kind of less real as well. And it's very beneficial for work, but you still have to wade through all the shit. So I don't know. What do you do?
It takes a lot of curation. But I do think it is important to I do use it still on my desktop. I just took it away from myself on my phone so that I can't mindlessly scroll that thing.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I like this. You're right about the drafting, Blakely, because it went from being kind of a shortcut and helping brainstorm to very quickly being a crutch. And so I very rarely, actually, I will say I don't, and this is true. I do not use it to create a writing anymore because I think two reasons. One, I think people can see right through it, just like you said. And two, I'm really afraid of losing the skill. It takes skill to sit there and brainstorm and force yourself to push through a thought. It helps because I'm also writing right now on the side as well. But like if you're not exercising that muscle, you can lose it pretty quickly. Heather, what would you say about that? I know you're looking at that balance between human and AI and figuring that out. Like, what's your take on using AI for drafting?
Yeah, I agree. I try to use it as like a proofreader or like, what would you change about this, or, poke holes in it kind of thing. But I also won't like, actually, that's not true. The only other place I use it for drafting is if I have a lot of different like ideas in my brain. I love Claude, and I just sit and talk. It lets you record like a huge like voice ramble, and so I record something like that, and I'm like, can you just turn that into some sort of like a doc or an outline or something that I can at least like get started from, and it makes good connections and things like that. So I use that, but then I agree, and I love I love writing, and I believe a lot.
Even with that, you are still starting with your voice. I think that's the difference, right? Yeah. Like going there and saying, "Hey, how do I feel about this?" And like just say something, give me an opinion on the current state of affairs, in DEI. that's so different than me talking to it, putting it in and inputting my ideas and saying, help me refine this, capture this. Like, I don't want to ever lose my voice.
Yes.
Because I haven't tended to it enough.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. The original thoughts and your original voice are super important.
Yeah. And it can get fuzzy in my experience. Like, you're like, did I come up with that? Did I start thinking about that? And then you can kind of lose it that way.
Although, don't you wish certain people at your work were using it more in terms of like nasty emails or, people that don't already communicate well, like kind of a shitty manager? Like, shouldn't there be like a shitty manager filter through Claude? And then all of a sudden they're like a good manager, right? Because
this person all of a sudden
shitty
starts
manager
saying thank you.
Everything.
Yeah. They don't usually like, oh, that could be a good outcome. Yeah.
No, you made me think of it in Gmail now. It'll be like, I'll write this email for you. And I was like, I mean, that would be convenient. But I actually was like, no, like I need to use my own brain.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here. Like, I went and turned that feature off because I was like, I don't need you writing everything that I say. It is kind of creepy.
It's creepy.
I agree completely. What do you, and I'd love to hear a little bit about your company and why you started it and what you do. We've done a little bit of background conversation before this got started. And one thing that you said that really struck me was the importance of people and humans being seen and valued and heard, and how that can translate into a healthy work environment. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing and speak to that, if you would.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, I guess, where that like concept like came from for me and like where it really hit me. So I was at Salesforce for 10 years prior to going to Torch. And in my time there, I got this opportunity to start what was called our Associate Product Manager program. It was like all about bringing these people out of undergrad, teaching them to be great product managers at the company. And I went into it thinking, okay, I'm going to teach them all the hard skills and like how to do, product work. When I got like a group of 12 like 22-year-olds in the room, I was like, oh man, like they are struggling with a lot of things, but it is not like it is not actually about the hard skills. Like in retrospect, the hard skills are really easy to teach and for them to learn, but they were struggling with a lot of like imposter syndrome and like going into these teams where they were so new and they didn't know how to like talk to these people who are so much more experienced and senior than them. They couldn't like find their voice. And the whole point of the program was that we were trying to instill like new behaviors and new ways of doing things on our teams. And so it was actually really critically important that they could go in and exercise that like voice and confidence and everything. And so that was what was like going on in my like work life. But like personally for myself at the time, I was having the same experience. I was like a new VP. I was a new mom. I was leading this program. I had no idea what I was doing. I was getting a lot of like really good like recognition from running the program. But like inside, I was like, holy shit, I'm freaking out. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I actually started working with a coach. And at the time, my coach just really helped me to just like shift my perspectives on all these things and what was happening for me personally in my coaching. I was like, wow, what if I take some of these concepts and these ways of thinking and doing things and I teach it to these 22-year-olds before they learn all these bad habits and, like model after some of the not so great like leaders that they could have modeled after. And so I brought these concepts to them and just really saw how much focusing on like who they really are as people and their self-awareness and like thinking about how do they relate to the people around them just completely changed things. And of course it changed things at work, but it actually started to change things in their personal lives too. And so I always say I just got bit by this bug of like, what does it mean then to really feel like you can show up more authentically and understand who you are and what your strengths and flaws are and operate from that kind of more like grounded place versus the typical, more like showy nature of how people are at work, I think most of the time.
How did you do that in practice? You said you taught some things that you learned from your coach. Does it, it's like, hey, be vulnerable now, or was it emotional intelligence tests that we all take and learning how to interact with each other, or was it a skill at a time? Like, what did that look like? Or give me a story or example.
Basically what I ended up doing, I had my second daughter like during the early parts of that program. And so I went on mat leave for like 6 months, and I was like avidly reading Brené Brown books and all this stuff. Like I was like, I'm really like, I'm all in on these ideas and this concept. And so I just like went kind of on my own, personal journey with all of that during mat leave. And by the time I came back, that's when I realized how much they were all struggling. And I was just like, oh man, I need to like bring some of those ideas and some of the like personal things that I've like gone through in coaching like to them. So I literally like created a PowerPoint deck about like Brené Brown concepts, things like vulnerability and empathy and like courage and connection and all these things. And I like sat them all down, and I was like, they're going to think like I went on mat leave and like lost my mind. So, they all are really not going to know
people
what to do
do
with
sometimes.
This.
It's maternity leave, just for those of you that don't know what mat leave is. Maternity leave.
Yes, thank you.
Ahead.
Thank you. So yeah, I went and I like we had like we did like half days every month with them, and so we had this half day, and I was like, I'm gonna like take a huge risk here and teach you about these concepts. And now, luckily, fast forward however many years, like 7 years, 8 years. These things are talked about a lot more, I think, at work now than they were back then.
Yeah, I was going to say you were really early. You were so early and very progressive.
I was like, no one has ever heard the word like empathy at work, or like, talk about like courage at work and things like that. But I just like felt really like passionate that it could really change things for them. And so we did that. And then we did an activity of sharing. And I've since done this activity with like every team that I've led. And it's just eye-opening, but it's just a prompt where you say, tell us something about you that helps us understand like the leader you are today. Like something about like connecting who they are and how they like, came to being who they are with how they show up at work and how they lead at work. And, I think you have to have some base level of like connection and trust to do this activity. You can't just like walk into a random room of people and do this well. But with some baseline, it takes somebody kind of like courageously going first and sharing a more personal, part of themselves. But man, you start to learn about where did people really come from, and where are their weird quirks, like tied to different things in their past, or what are they really like proud of or scared of, and all these things. And I feel like then you really get to see like a pretty different version of like who they are and their like a deeper level of their story. And then you can just appreciate them and I think even like I'll say tolerate them better in different circumstances, because they're not just like overbearing. It's like something tied to who they were or how they grew up or how they were parented or anything else. And I don't know, I've seen it be where people go real far and will say a lot of things, and I've seen ones where it's like a little less, but either way, like you learn something about how they like identify and who they are, and it really does help you like just relate to them on a different level going forward.
So as the leader, how did you create space and permission for them to share?
Usually I go first. So it's a bit about like sharing stuff about how I grew up or like who I am and how that impacts like who I am at work. Like, I don't know, like part of my thing is like prior to all this work that I did during that time of like coaching and the Brené Brown stuff and everything, like I personally, I'm I used to call myself a chameleon. Like I grew up with like divorced parents, and I went like back and forth between my parents' houses. And in doing that, I got really good at like reading the room. Like I could go in and be like, okay, what's going on here this week? And what do I need to do? Who do I need to be? And then I could just like show up. Yeah. Which is like, it's a superpower skill of mine, but it also has, as everything has a dark side. And so I like share that, but you go into more detail, you tell a little bit more of like what it was like and how you use it for good and for bad. And, but just like how that shows up in my day-to-day leadership. And, again, like if you have a baseline of trust and you hear a story like that, then the next person who goes typically will share something that's like, not just something kind of check the box sort of answer or response either.
Yeah. And I bet it made it really come alive. I mean, I think the power of story is is huge. And I mean, we see it all over the place, just from the early days of reality TV to now, like the 10-second Instagram reel. Everyone's telling a story and looking to relate to people through that. And when, as a leader, you can set that standard and say, okay, here I'm willing to share. I think that is brave of you, because who knows, what they could be saying behind your back if you disclose whatever. But also you're saying it's part of me. And if I'm going to trust you with that, then they can in turn expect that from each other and from the team.
Yeah.
And that's really, really powerful.
Yeah. And I don't think you have to go like that far either. Like if you're hearing this and cringing and being like, oh God, like, Heather's crazy. Guest Heather is crazy. Then
thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
There's simple ways you can bring this in too. Like, if you aren't leading a team through sensitivity or trust or sharing, like the way my husband of all people like comes in and thinks about it is like, are you, not that that's wrong. Like he's a very smart man. I don't mean to like
my husband.
Sorry, Scott.
I know.
No. But he always challenges like, what if you can just operate through a lens of giving the benefit of the doubt? And it really is, if you see something that you didn't like, or you your son skipped school, right? I don't know how, I'm taking it to parenting because that's where I sit right now. But okay, I could be like, oh, he's just up to no good. He's doing this. But what if I just operate through the benefit of doubt? And so it just is like a trigger to be like that empathy, like where they're coming from. What is their perspective? Okay, maybe he was helping a friend, whose car broken down on the side of the road. And so you get curious, you ask your questions, and it just kind of stops you from judging or, going straight to this person's not competent, right? Or they're mean or whatever. So it's like, it's like knowing where they're coming from, or just not assuming that they're doing wrong on purpose. No one wants to do wrong on
Assume
purpose, right?
good intent is another phrase. But I do think it's a curiosity thing. Like you have to actually like, I mean, I don't know, like we talked a bit about how I just really believe that like more human-based leadership I just think it could change a lot of things, like both at work and life, everywhere. But I think like it kind of starts from just like, you have to care enough about the other person and believe that other person like has their own, shit going on, and they have, their own life and like a whole world that you don't understand. And I don't know if you've seen the term Sonder. This is not like the bad Marriott acquisition Sonder that happened lately. But actually like, I don't know, I first saw it from Adam Grant on LinkedIn. But it was like this, it's the concept that like everyone you meet has this like rich story of, like heartbreak and wonderful things and all this in their life that you can't possibly understand. And so if you just like give people that benefit of the doubt and assume, that they have a whole world that you don't understand, and that you care enough about that as like a fellow human being, like a lot could go a lot better, not just assuming that people are just, like failing or out to get you or anything else, like get curious. And that's where I think a lot of like really good stuff can start to happen.
Yeah, because if you don't do that, then you're creating a fear culture, right? Like I think so many leaders are afraid to open up and blur this kind of personal professional line, because one, they don't want to get taken advantage of. They don't want to say, oh, okay, if I'm going to care now that so-and-so is this, and they're going to show up every week and ask for an excuse. Yeah. And, where does that go? Like, how do we keep this in check? But the thing they're missing is that people who feel seen, heard, cared, valued actually do want to do well. As humans, we have an innate desire to do well, to succeed, to please. And if they're being confronted with someone who doesn't value them, then it really is just a job. They've got one foot out the door. They're always looking for something better. There's not a loyalty there because you're not giving them anything in return. You're not valuing them as a human. So why the hell are they going to value you? The second somebody else can come along with a better offer, they're going to take it. And and that is such an oversight that so many leaders make by just, if you stop to care and pause and be valued, they actually might work better for you.
Totally.
Well, I'm going to challenge that. Yeah, but there's a reason that paradox exists, and it is, let's give the example of taking advantage of it. As a leader, you have such urgency to deliver something, right? To deliver to a goal. And that urgency gets like knocked out when you get blindsided by someone's sick, someone else is going on mat leave. Oh my gosh, someone else is now going, pregnant. True. And oh my gosh, I've been late every day. I don't know why they're late every day, but this person's late every day. And like you feel this urgency and you're not going to hit the goal. And so you can act horribly and not human and not be patient. Like, to me, that's like this weird crux you get put in as leader. And yet there is study after study that shows if you can get above that and work through that and still keep your humanity in it, you actually run a much more efficient organization over time. But I don't know. I mean, how do you handle that as a leader in the moment when you're faced with all those blows? And I do want to be human, and I got to make my goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to hold both. Yeah, you have to hold both things as true, right? Like it's like the performance element and the people, which is really hard. Like, but it's a spectrum, and you don't always have to be, I think, at like one place on that spectrum. But it's funny because whenever I go and talk about any of this with people, you hear quickly like, oh, okay, well, if we all focus on people, then, like our performance will suffer. Or people love to name companies where like they were not really human companies, but they clearly did great business. So it must not matter. You can still get the results. And I'm like, yeah. But like, can we just like hold both of these things as being true? Like one of my like mantras about leadership is like, I care just as much about what you do as how you do it. Like you could be the best, whatever, CEO, whatever, like any title in the world. Like you could be the best at that job. But if you're shitty to people and make,
amen,
leave a wake in your path, then like it doesn't matter. It does not impress me. And likewise, you can't be like the nicest leader ever who cares about the people and says like, yep, okay, it's fine. And not hold a bar for, you can't hold, if you don't hold a bar for performance, then that's a problem too, and I've actually seen both like ends of that spectrum very much, but it's a hard like balance to strike. But I think that's where like the magical kind of like real performance can come from.
So the balance that you just mentioned, Heather, is so key. And I remember being at Cloud Coach, and that's the company Blakely and I were competitors of. So Salesforce had that V2 Mom thing. The goals, we're familiar with that. Clay, please don't ask me the acronym. It's like
Heather Conklin knows it. Yeah,
okay.
Heather knows it.
What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
It is, oh gosh, now I feel pressure. Okay. Vision, values, methods, obstacles, and metrics.
That's right. Yeah. Obstacles, metrics. So I tried to institute it. I went and did a thing with, the people there and got all inspired, came back to the team, and it was so complicated, and the app didn't really work very well. It was just very clunky. And so it kind of failed the first year. And then I was like, you know what? We just need something simple. And what I didn't like about the V2 Mama was just company focused. I'm like, I want to create from top down a value of personal and professional. So we made C2 goals, same kind of idea.
Could you explain the acronym?
Sure. Well, it was Cloud Coach, C. 2, Cloud Coach. Oh, you're so jealous. You're so jealous. You're laughing.
Everyone's got to have their special
this was a good idea.
Interesting. There's no delay when the jealousy hits. It's just amazing.
The universe loves this content. Okay. C2 goals. Right. So it was every person needed to meet with their people and had to come up with one professional goal and one personal goal. And then when we would do our reviews and our kind of monthly check-ins and quarterly check-ins, it was how are you progressing on your personal goal and how are you progressing on your professional goal? And we would contribute X number of dollars toward both each year. And it was this great way of saying, it's like, okay, someone's saying, I'm going to run a marathon, or I'm going to read 12 books, and then the professional side, I'm going to get my Salesforce Dev 2 certification, or, whatever those two things were going to be. So the conversation always led into how are you doing on both sides? Because one without the other isn't communicating, to your point, Heather, the values are off regardless. If it's focused fully on personal, then you're going to get walked over, and this isn't a nonprofit that we're running here. And then a professional, then you're missing that whole human content. So it worked pretty well. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it worked pretty well.
Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, I feel like the thing that I get worried about right now is when, like, I have done similar types of things on different teams in the past, but I feel like over the last couple of years, like the tides have turned in a pretty big way at work. And like, I don't know, just in a lot of cases is like, there's no space for that anymore. Like there's been so many layoffs, like everybody's doing like 4 jobs, the pressure is so high. Everybody's now like freaking out about AI. And so the space to be human and actually like care about who people are and how they are outside of work, or, what their personal goals are. Like, I don't know. I always like, I've been like, it's kind of sad, but I'm just like the idea of just like caring about our people has really, not across the board, but in a lot of companies has really gotten pushed way down the priority list. And I think like that's where it might deliver results in the near term. Like I was saying, like companies, can deliver results in the near term, and you can lead in a fear-based way, but eventually I do think that catches up. And I feel like I feel like we're getting on the brink of watching that catch up to people. Like, I don't know if you guys see this, but so many people I talk to, friends and, just different like contacts that I have are like work is really like hard for people right now. And I think it's a lot of because it is missing that connection. Like if you don't have it, it sucks. Like, let's be honest, like that when you think back to your favorite job you've ever had or team you've ever worked on, like you probably aren't really thinking about the work you did as much as you're thinking about like the team, fun you had with the team, or, like going through something hard with other people. And like, and when we just push all that aside and kind of like try to like automate everything away, or, just like stay very productive all the time. Like we're like, we're all feeling that right now. I really do see it.
Because people will stay through the hard times if they care.
Yes.
That's the issue. Yeah. What were you going to say?
They will. I was reading, I think it was a Sloan publication, but they were saying that, I'm trying to I never get my quotes right. I read and they go out, but it was something like, you have like a 10x better predictor of attrition if it's like a healthy, non-toxic workplace over compensation, which is just showing, investment in people is in creating that safe environment trumps. Now, I'll say that bottom line, people care about getting paid. So we could also address the CEO ratio pay gap, everyone on here that's listening. Like, let's address that too, because money talks. But you are right. Like when it comes to attrition, people leave bad bosses, people leave bad environments, and 10x is a big jump of an indicator. I was really surprised by that number.
Yeah. Okay, so what was it again? The 10x attrition.
So like it's a better predictor, a 10 times better predictor of people that are going to leave, how toxic your environment is versus like compensation, how much people are making. So like culture matters over money, essentially, right?
I believe that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think like toxic leaders, like I have worked for very toxic leaders in the past, and it does become like it consumes your whole life. Like it knocks your confidence. Like you get thinking about it, you lose sleep. Like at some point, no matter how much they're paying you, it's not worth
your health. So how would you describe toxic leaders? Like Blakely, Heather, whoever, like what characteristics would you guys say would represent a toxic leader?
I think there's a lot of probably flavors of them. But one that quickly comes to mind is like that they really are out for themselves and themselves only. And it is very evident from what they are doing that they're like, they don't really care about you or anyone else around. Like, it is all about them at the end of the day. And they're willing to do pretty much whatever it takes to succeed. And I think that's like, I don't know, to me, that's one of the clear signals. And I don't know, it goes back to what you were saying earlier about people like feeling cared for and seen and all that. Like you can tell when somebody doesn't care about you at all. And when they're really like out for themselves, they might fool you for like a little bit, but eventually you can see it. But I don't know, it's like the political, like backstabbing and gaslighting and all the big terms I think that we throw out there. But I do think at the core of it, it's like they actually are like really out for themselves.
I would guess that 9 out of 10 is exactly what you said. It's like narcissism, out for themselves. I remember I had one, like my most toxic leader. It's interesting. I actually have a lot of empathy for him now, but he was absolutely the most toxic leader I ever had. And his pattern, it was the control pattern, and he would berate and abuse you and tell you were a piece of shit. And then 30 seconds later, he'd be like, I'm going to give you a promotion. You're my favorite person. You're doing such a great job. And it was like being in an abused like marriage, right? Like just like a domestic violence situation. And come to find out, that's how he was raised. He was raised exactly. So you have a tremendous empathy once you know his story and kind of understand it. Didn't make it okay at all, but at least he wasn't like a narcissist. Because that to me, I'm like, I can't work with that. I don't know how you did it for so long. Like,
what
you know what I mean?
Again?
Like,
I know we use that word so much, but it's like the inability to look at yourself. When we're talking about narcissists, like they blame other people, they don't look at themselves, they always want to be right. Is that?
I would like Clay to give us the definition of narcissism because I misuse the term all the time. And so, Heather, thank you for calling that out, host Heather.
I'm just genuinely asking.
I genuinely just say it whenever I hear things like guest Heather is like when someone is just in it for themselves, they could roll over everyone on their team as long as they get the credit and they get the promotion, right? And the accolades.
The definition, just straight out of the dictionary: narcissism, excessive interest in or admiration of oneself and one's physical appearance. The psychology definition is selfishness, involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, and a need for admiration as characterizing a personality type. So,
okay, yeah. So we're right. That makes sense. I mean, we're obviously right. We are super hot. I mean, if I'm thinking about it, like if I look at us right now, like we're really good looking. We're always definition. Right. I mean, so now I'm glad we know what narcissists look like. Sorry, go ahead. What were you guys going to say?
I love it.
By the way, that Sloan article I read, I was going to say the one that had the 10X predictor on culture over money. The flip side of that article, which I thought was really interesting, was that they were doing this whole measurement on toxic managers. And they were saying, we know that there's this 10X indicator, yet toxic managers are being promoted at the same rate as non-toxic managers. That doesn't make any sense. And so sometimes I'm like, okay, we know who the toxic managers are. We know what they're doing to the culture. We know that they can't see the people. They're not creating the safe space. And yet we promote them. What the fuck? Why are we promoting them?
Because they deliver results. Like we're deciding. It's that an paradox choice. Like it's a choice that companies are making, that results are more important than the behavior. But like, I mean, with my toxic leaders, like people knew. I told people, like HR knew, it's like people know. But it's like crazy to me how often companies make that choice that you're saying, just to like, oh, well, but they delivered. And so we keep promoting them. And like, you don't see it in the moment, but how much it just signals to everybody at the company, like, this is what's okay here. Like, and if you,
this is what's promoted.
do those things. Like
Yeah.
I mean, let's call it what it is. It's corporate greed. And that should be another episode for another time because it's a different layer of the problem, but I think it's a real problem driving a lot of this behavior.
So and I know we've got to start winding up soon, but I'd really love for people listening, I'd love to hit two different demographics here. Not age-wise, because just on a human level, and a role level. So first, if we look at leaders, what would you say to a leader to get them to understand how valuing their employees as humans can actually impact the bottom line in a positive way, or shift the mindset from it being a detractor from productivity or profitability into more of an enhancement? And what type of advice or things would you have them look at to consider the way they're thinking about these, quote, soft skills in the workplace?
Yeah. I mean, I think we have to stop calling them soft skills. And
Yes.
I really hope that is like happening now. I've seen people call it human skills. I've seen people start to say they're higher order skills, but like those skills are what really matter. And I think that paired with, again, like actually just like truly caring about these people as people before you care about them as like professionals or like resources or, whatever, all the other like languages that we use around it. Like the combo of that, I think is again, that's where like feeling valued comes from. And I agree with what you said, Heather, before about like, the more I felt like somebody cared about me, like the more I was willing to do. Like, when I worked with people who I really thought they cared and like they were going to have my back and all that, like I would run through a wall for those people, I would work my ass off. And like, that's what everybody wants. But the way we're doing it is just to like return to office mandates and, like 996 culture of working all the time and all this stuff.
What's 996 culture?
Oh, can I looked it up.
Yes.
It's 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. That's what it is. Yeah.
Like, come on. That
12-hour
is,
days,
like,
6 days a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, that's not how
Not
brains
sustainable.
and people and bodies work, actually. And you're only going to, like, again, you can get results that way for a while, but at some point it is going to fall apart. And so anyway, I say all that because I think like if you demonstrate like actually caring about people, you listen, you do demonstrate some levels of vulnerability. And I always tell people like it can start with really simple stuff, like saying, I don't really know. Like, I don't know what exactly is going to happen next. And like, but we're all going to work together to like figure it out. And, like revealing it doesn't have to be like your deep stories about your childhood, but it can be just little things about who you really are and what you actually think. And that's why I love like this podcast, because it's like the more you're just real and say what we're all like feeling and thinking, like that in and of itself connects people to you and makes you not feel alone and all that stuff. So anyway, you have to model how you want people to behave. And I think that when you do all that, people start to just like naturally like mimic what they're seeing happening. And we talked about a bad example earlier, but this is ways that it can happen in good ways where people can say, oh, that's what great looks like. And now I'm going to do more of that.
And so then from an employee perspective, then if we shift it, and so now we're speaking to the employees listening, what is the line? So let's say you're very lucky and you have an employer that's willing to look at you as a human. What is that human professional line in an ideal space? Because I kind of agree with Blakely where it's like, okay, there's some level of here. It's like, we still need to be productive. We can't all be crying in each other's offices for too long in a day, right? Like we do actually need to get the job done. And so speak to an employee and say, what is that boundary? How much do you share and what do you save for home or your therapist? What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, I feel like the idea of being your whole self at work is like gotten kind of a bad rap where people are, I don't need to know everything about you. And I totally agree. Like, I know I've given more like personal examples even in this podcast, but like, But I don't think you have to tell everybody everything about you. Like, that's not actually what vulnerability means. I don't think it's what is really intended. But it's like being willing to say what's real, what is true, like not just, I don't know. It could be as simple as things like you notice bad behavior of somebody. Like, don't just be like, oh God, host Heather always does that. And like, it's, I hate that. And I just am going to go like talk about her over here. Like say something, like be brave enough to like have a real conversation with somebody or like, I was actually talking to my husband about this today too, where it's like when you observe things, even at like senior leader levels, I think it can be really hard when you observe something that is not working and feeling like, well, when do I tell somebody that I think this or I have observed that? And like you don't really know it, I think, until you get into those like really senior leadership positions. But like, as YouTube CEOs, like, didn't you actually really appreciate it when somebody would come to you and be like, hey, like you can't see this anymore, but like, this is what's really happening here, or here's a flaw we have in the business. And it goes back to like the modeling, right? As a leader, you have to be willing to be like, hey, like I screwed up this thing, or, like I made this decision and it actually wasn't the right one. And now we're going to do this other thing instead. But the more, again, that you like model that, like, I don't know, back at Salesforce on one of my teams, we created this thing where every month we had, the all hands and we shared a failure. We called it fail salad, like a
failing salad,
but a fail salad. No, fail salad. Yes.
Great.
And so we did fail salad.
All right. That's another merch. That's another t-shirt we got to do. Okay.
Fail salad. That's good.
And so we came, like somebody would come on and again, like the leadership of the team has to go first because nobody's going to do this if they're not doing it. But like you talk through like a thing where you failed and you screwed something up and what'd you learn from it and what are you going to do different now going forward because of it. And these little like rituals and things like that can just start to build more of that, like the transparent, honest, trustworthy, vulnerable, courageous kind of culture. Because like, again, if companies really want more innovation and results and all that, then you have, like, if you don't have a culture where people are able to like take risks and say the hard thing, then you're only going to get a fraction of what you would have gotten otherwise from them.
It's basically the antidote to imposter syndrome, perfectionism, like all these things that have been built into us. Like we're just creating the antidote for it. And it's much more balanced and thoughtful.
It is. It is. But it's hard. I mean, the reality of it is hard. It's very scary.
It's very lifelong.
Hard. Yes. Yes. It is a practice. It is a lifelong practice.
Yeah. Heather, thank you so much. This was incredible. I feel very empowered on all sides to lean into the humanity piece of work and show up as my full self and just, what's the worst that can happen, really? If that, what I hear you saying is if that person is rejected, then you're really in the wrong spot anyway. I mean, we need to find a place where we can be ourselves and continue to grow. And so we need to continue to seek it. And employers need to be more open to it to see the benefits that can come instead of being afraid of. Yeah. So it's beautiful. Thank you so much. We've learned so much. Before we let you go, we do ask one quick question. We ask all of our guests and we do answer it ourselves, which is what brought a smile to your face this week?
My smile this week has been with my 9-year-old daughter. I have started reading Harry Potter with her.
Nice.
So I've never read Harry Potter. I've never watched any of the movies. Yeah, no,
I haven't either. I
have just like waited for her, and here she is, and we're reading it now. And so I'm 2 chapters into the first Harry Potter book, and it's been really fun to read that with her and kind of like start to see what everybody's all jazzed up about.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's exciting.
That's fun. Blakely, Clay?
I'm going to go last.
Oh, okay, fun.
I Gmail says you can only have, 15 gigabytes? So I had to go through and delete a bunch of stuff in order to keep my free account.
That is so freeing.
Anyway, I had to go delete stuff, and I went through my emails, and I found an old demo of a song that I was in a band years ago, and the lead singer...
Classland.
different band.
We can't say that band.
Okay, never mind.
You can't say the name of the band. The band was called Flint Eastwood.
Flint Eastwood.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And we had kind of made a demo, and I got to hear like an old recording, and hearing my friend Jack's her voice, and it was amazing to be transported in an instant because I completely forgot about the song, and it never got released, never got published, and I got to hear it, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times. And I was just like I had tears because I was so happy to find it, you know?
That's so sweet. Will you sing a little bit for us?
No, hell no. What? Right now?
Boo.
No.
Boo.
What?
Why not? You have a great voice.
Because
la 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 la.
Okay.
I wasn't. How do I explain? Heather, guest, back me up. This would be like the ultimate cringe moment. Like you just set me up.
Yeah, you can't sing on
singing on a podcast. I can't think of anything more cringe.
Empathy again. Will you at least link to it so we can see it? Can you release it now?
No, because I don't own the intellectual property for it.
All right. Well, we'll just have to take your word for it that it was good then.
It was really good. Yeah, but regardless of what other people think, I had a moment and I loved it, and that was my smile.
That's awesome.
Yay.
Yeah.
Heather?
The monks all day long. I can't get enough of the monks walking their peace walk. I'm just having so much fun watching.
What is this?
Wait, what's the monks?
Guys, you gotta watch the monks. The monks are walking from Fort Worth, Texas to DC. And it's a walk for peace. And so I'm not sure which, what is that called, Clay? Is it a group?
Like
what's
clan,
a group of monks?
Denomination?
Oh, you mean
Clay, you should know this.
You mean like so I don't know anything about it other than I saw what they're wearing. And so it looks like they're...
No. I mean the type of monks. Like, is it it's not a clan of monks. It's a group
like
of
an
monks.
Order?
An order. Thank you. An order. Like, because they all have their different orders, right? So an order of monks is walking, and they are inspiring everyone. They're just walking for peace to remind people to be peaceful and to love each other.
Cool.
And people, it's so fun. They have a dog with them. The dog has his own Instagram page. It's a whole thing. It's really, you got to check it out.
I love it.
Wow, that's cool.
Walk for peace.
Techie
All right.
monks.
Yep.
Okay, do you guys remember my story of Mr. Bruce who would like slip us the $100 bills?
Yes.
So we could buy Christmas lights and
neighbor.
light
Yes.
the tree. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And he came out with his walker and like watched them when the scissor lift to the cherry picker and like put the lights on. And we see him every night with the light on at his dining room table, just looking at the lights. And I wasn't going to bring this up on the show because it doesn't feel like a smile, a little bittersweet, but Mr. Bruce passed this week. I know. And it's super big hole in my heart, but it is a smile. And it is a smile because I brought it up because of guest Heather. Mr. Bruce lived his life without a cell phone, without a computer. He had rabbit ears on his TV that went out sometime last year, and he's like, I don't need to fix it because he lived his life in a library and he read books. When his grandson was born, he wrote letters to his daughter-in-law for 19 years. They wrote back and forth. He was the very definition of like human curiosity, human connection. And I think the smile for me is that I want Mr. Bruce to be like rebirthed into like generation beta, you know, and just in terms of like a new kind of human connection, because we're going to need it a little bit more. And anyway, I just needed you guys to know, but we're so glad we made that Christmas tree happen for him. That's my other smile.
That's amazing.
So, I know. He was an amazing guy.
Sweet, man.
Wow.
Miss Mr. Bruce. Anyway, cheers to Mr. Bruce.
Cheers to Mr. Bruce.
And cheers to you,
Yeah,
Heather, for everything you are doing and just bringing a little more human and humanity to the workplace. It's really appreciated.
Thank you both. Thank you all very much for having me today. It's been really fun. And thank you guys, because I actually think like you're demonstrating a lot of the things that we talked about here on this too. Like say what's real and let people know that they're not crazy or alone. Like alone. That will change a lot of things too.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, before we
All
let
right.
you go, sorry, Heather, where can people find you, stay connected with you?
Oh, well, LinkedIn. I will only respond when I'm on my desktop, but I am on LinkedIn and you can find me there. Or if you want to look up Torch and learn a little bit more about what we do at Torch, then we're at torch.io.
Great. We'll have all that in the show notes.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us, Heather.